Hi, hello. And magandang hapon sa inyong lahat at magandang hapon, hindi pala hapon, gabi na, 6 o'clock. And we're here right now at Wow Very Good Live. My program is called Feel Good with Tato, Reg, and Sensei Lucito. So, huwag kayo magtaka bakit yung actually, okay, you might be wondering why actually we have this guests of ours in terms of, well, they are also the host of other programs here. All right, I'd like to welcome first, of course, Reverend Reg Tan here, who actually interviewed me earlier in her program. So, Reverend Stan, good evening, and welcome to Wow Very Good Live, Feel Good with Tato, this particular time slot.
Yeah.
And of course, our Dream Sensei, Lucito de Jesus.
Good evening, Sensei.
Good evening, good evening,
Good evening.
Reg, and Tato. I think
What are you wearing?
I'm wearing a, we call it a gi.
What's that? What's
A
that?
gi.
A gi.
GI, and it's a Japanese dress or uniform for practicing Aikido.
Aikido.
Wow.
Oh.
Later mag-Aikido kami na
And
tayo.
you can see here the black belt.
Yeah.
Ito ba yung black belt siya?
All right, so Dream
There's the black
Sensei,
belt.
yeah.
Yes. Ako
So,
naman brown.
Brown belt.
si Lucito here. Is it Sito? What's your
Yes.
nickname?
Sito is fine.
Sito is actually
Tato, please don't call me Tits.
tits.
Or Lucito.
Yeah.
Just
Ako may the tats.
May tats.
Ikaw hindi wala yung tits, ha?
Touch mo yung tits mo, paano na? But this is touching, Tato, because you are I would assume, this is not a value judgment,
Yeah.
but you are the oldest of us three.
Well,
and being the
I
oldest,
am 28, so
because
actually...
let me finish that. Because being the oldest, you have acquired so much, so you're the most generous to share your time.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I will accept that reasoning.
Validation in
The
that
validation. But, all right, so what you are now watching here is not a
Scripted.
a thing that is supposed to happen regularly because we have our own programs.
Yeah.
So basically, every Wednesday now, I'm sorry, every Tuesday now, from 4 o'clock, we have Dr. Harris. Harris? Is
Yes.
that his complete? Harris, right? Dr. Harris Acero. Dr. Harris Acero, who actually comes out every 4 o'clock in the afternoon here with his wellness program, together with his partner there.
Tandem niya.
Girl, all right. Then after
She's a
that,
girl, no?
it is Reverend Reg Tan, who comes out every 5 o'clock in the afternoon, every Tuesday now, in the program Goals with Reverend Stan.
Yes.
And after that, it's me, Feel Good with Tato. And that's at 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock in the evening. And after 6 o'clock, after 7 o'clock, or rather, at 7 o'clock rather, you will be able to watch for the first time on a Tuesday, Dream Sensei, Lucito de Jesus,
Yes.
Aikido master here.
And Ring,
And Dream
especially.
expert.
After you've gotten in touch with Tato, you could see me.
Actually, I have also, I'm an expert in
Excuse me.
dreams. I used to be an expert in dreams, not anymore. Wet dreams. Joke. All right. Okay. Now the thing is, we are teaming up just to announce that you will always get these 4 programs every Tuesday here at Wow Very Good Live. So what we are now saying here is, this is a regular thing that you will get to see. Of course, after my program at 7 o'clock, it's Lucito who is going to have his Dream Sensei program. All right, so with that, I'd like now to start my program in terms of what I had planned for tonight. And actually, I wanted to talk about the topic, why are we unhappy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very
Magandang-
important topic to discuss.
Magandang program na topic yan na as I've said, this is something that is important for us to be able to really learn, all right? Why are we unhappy? Because one reason is we would rather blame than forgive.
Yes.
We would rather blame than forgive. Okay. Now the thing here is I forgot to do something here. And can I, Richard, can you bring please my bag here? Dahil nandito sa baba para kung ayaw mo magpakita, although pwede ka naman magpakita, bakit hindi? Yeah, thank you.
Huwag kang magpapakita kahit ano. Selective.
Alright, we would rather blame than forgive.
It's PG na to.
Yes.
And so, sige, who can now actually give a nice, I would say, explanation on that? Why would it be better to forgive than to blame?
Do you have an answer, Sensei?
Well, first, Reverend Reg, ang ano ko dun sa blame, yung blaming comes from a person who is inflamed.
Yeah.
Maybe inflamed with anger.
Yeah.
Blame.
And the anger that may be inside the person
So
is
yung blame-
projected outside.
Yes.
So it's a projection of what is not comfortable inside, and one gets released because
Yeah.
I know I am more lovable than the other. I will just project the blame
Yes.
and my flame to the other. Yeah, something like that.
Yes. So, why are we unhappy? Ako naman. Share lang din ako.
Sige. I'm getting it from the
Number one,
experts.
I really think that unhappiness comes from not knowing yourself and
Not
not knowing what you are meant to accomplish in this time-space reality. What you're meant to accomplish when you're young, what you're meant to accomplish when you're in your teenage years, and even after your teenage years. It can be a cause for unhappiness.
Yep.
Kasi when you are laser focused dun sa kung ano ba yung goal mo, and alam mo kung ano dapat yung wise use of your time, talent, and your resources, nawawala kasi yung unhappiness dun eh.
Mhm.
But if we are just thinking of when your mind or when your consciousness is wandering around, yung hindi ka purposeful, magiging unhappy ka talaga.
Wala
Kasi
kang
the
goal.
moment, yes, the moment that people are disappoint you, out of focus ka na kagad, kung meron kang goal, you will let it go eh. You won't sweat the small stuff. Because, alam mo na meron kang gagawin, so hindi ka magpapadala dun sa mga nangyayari around you.
Okay? So, we would rather forgive than to blame.
Yeah.
Alright? A lot of times, we actually blame because we don't want to acknowledge the fact that it is our fault.
Yes.
Right? So, we blame other people for our mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you do that, okay, we think we would be happy. Kasi parang bang hindi ako may kasalanan, so I
Yeah.
don't have anything na itatago or ano ko. But basically, it did not resolve anything in terms of what you just did. When you did something wrong or if you have to admit it and you didn't admit it and instead you put the blame on somebody else, that still doesn't fix the situation. So basically, it makes you still unhappy
Yes.
Tato,
because you'll be hiding something.
Yes. Tato, let me, sa insight ko kay Reverend Reg, parang sinasabi niya, kailangan naka-anchor ka sa sarili mo.
Yes.
So, and yet, I see also that if you look at as a psychologist and a psychotherapist, if one looks at a child,
Yes.
he is not unhappy if he or she blames another person. He's a child. He does not have a semblance of good or bad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in terms of Sigmund Freud's analysis, there are defense mechanisms, and part of defense mechanisms are rationalization and blaming other people. Because I always think I'm lovable. I'm the
Yes.
center of the universe as a child. Unless I grow up and then I realize, it's a defense mechanism.
Yes.
And I will not grow from it. And I will not be happy, really.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of adult people who are like a child, who blame a lot of people.
Mhm.
So they are regress into a childlike state.
Mhm.
Yes.
Still blaming other people, or regress to a childlike state, and still in defense mechanism mode. Blaming and other defense mechanisms are practiced by adults.
Yeah.
Yes. And I want to add to what you said, Sensei. Kasi blaming is actually a practice that children learn from their parents.
Exactly.
So, in fact, Bruce Lipton, the author of Heaven and Earth and the Biology of Belief, he was saying that from your infanthood up to your 7 years of age, that's the time you're only downloading, you're only receiving whatever conditions you have in your environment. So if you see your parents do the blaming, or your guardians do the blaming, or the people who surrounded you at that time, from infanthood up to your 7 years of age, then you will pick up everything. And if you have picked up the idea of blaming, then that's what you're going to recreate in your adult life, unless you had some form of therapy in between your 7 years of age up to your adulthood. So it's very important now that parents themselves are able to realize that whatever it is that they're doing, the kids actually copy the behavior from them.
The idea nga is like that, Reverend Reg. Whatever the parents feed their children,
Yes.
they would swallow in, and that would be what they vomit to the world.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so unless, of course, the child rearing practices is really conscious
Yes.
of what is well, what is holy, what is balanced, then the child who may reach up to 7, maybe in a sense well-nurtured,
Yes.
rather than in a sense broken emotionally.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. So I'm
just, I'm just showing exactly what was written earlier in a reverse form.
Kayo kanina, no? Yes, yes.
Okay. Anyway, so thank you. I think we have a lot of things that we had gathered from that kind of a discussion. On we would rather blame than forgive. That's why we are unhappy. So if you have some suggestions as well, comments, please feel free to write them down. I'd like to say hi to some people who are watching us in Facebook right now. Pasensya na kayo, baliktad kasi ito eh.
Nakatagilid.
Nakatagilid.
Nakatagilid po yung cellphone.
Richie, Malay,
Ni Tato, kaya
Alejandro Menorca,
nakaside view siya.
Mike Gangoso, and Josh Shualay. Okay, so basically, alright. So thank you for watching. Alright, anyway, so
salamat po sa mga nagpa-follow kay Tato.
alright, so yeah.
Salamat.
Now the next one that I would want to now take up is another reason why.
Tato, let me clarify.
Yeah. Sige.
Well, the other thing is sometimes if people are blaming, we cannot also blame them because sometimes they don't know.
Yes.
That's why they need therapy.
That's right. A lot of
It's not
times.
their sins too, no? That's why we need noble souls to really be a light to them
Yes.
in order that maybe they get to be transformed.
Yes. Ang swerte ng mga nakikinig ngayon. Kasi ngayon, nagkakaroon na sila ng ganitong idea, ng ganitong learning.
Oo.
Yung mga tao na dumaan muna dun sa process before nila napakinggan to, then andun sila sa process of actually changing and making it better for their household.
Yes, yes. Because, Reverend Reg, yung iba nga, galit sa sarili nila because they cannot change themselves.
Yes.
They find themselves always stuck in the idea of blame.
Yes,
Yeah.
in fact, I want to share, no, over the weekend, I was conversing with someone. And then, this person, sabi niya, alam mo, kachat ko yung staff ko na ganito. Kachat ko yung isang moderator or facilitator dito. And then, kausap ko din yung isa. Sabi niya, yung tatlong tao na to, ayaw nila mag-cooperate according to the guidelines. Tapos, nung matatapos na yung conversation namin, dumating naman yung mga ibang friends niya. Pagdating ng dalawang friends niya, sabi ng dalawang friends niya, you know what, we are in a collaborative space, so we should be able to work together in balance and harmony with joy as much as possible. But if the joy is not there at the moment, at least in balance and harmony. So, 5 people were actually reminding her na dapat harmonious yung pagtatrabaho natin. And apparently, sabi niya, all 5 of you are wrong and I am correct. So,
may dogma siya sa sarili niya.
Oh, so sabi ko, of course, I didn't want to add fuel to the fire, but I was just observing the whole thing. Imagine 5 people
giving her a feedback.
Yes.
Actually,
and then
sige.
sasabihin ng tao na
Siya pa rin.
yes.
Actually, ito na yung kung ano eh. Ito na yung sinasabi ni Reverend Reg. Why are we unhappy? Because we would rather be right than be happy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to add to what Tato said. This is a very important thing to learn today because we would rather be right is actually coming from the logical brain, the head brain. We have 3 brains, by the way, which I learned from Kundalini Yoga. Our gut brain, our heart brain, and then our head brain. And apparently, we live in a dimension wherein we give priority to the head brain. And now, these scientists and spiritual teachers are saying that the head brain is actually just one of those areas which gives us direction. But in truth,
Reverend Reg, do we
Yes.
translate that to the rational mind?
yes, the
The
rational
conscious
mind,
mind?
yes. And what they're saying now is we should give priority to the heart brain in terms of decision making, in terms of reaction, because it's the heart brain who has the largest electromagnetic capacity. So, and in fact, Howard Martin and Doc Childre, people from Heart Math Institute, who has been doing research about the power of the heart and heart intelligence over 2 decades now, they're saying that we think that the heart is, we think that it's slow in progress because it requires patience. Part of our heart intelligence, by the way, is patience.
Patience.
And part of it is also being able to work well with others.
Or Reverend Reg, this is now what we call emotional intelligence.
Yes, emotional intelligence. So they're saying that we should give priority to emotional intelligence over the logical mind or the rational thinking because it doesn't only serve us at present, but it also serves us in the long run.
Yes.
Because apparently, not just in the Philippines, we've observed in the Philippines, for example, we have a lot of college graduates. And apparently, in Tato Malay's discussion of Kamalayan, a lot of people, no matter how intelligent they are in terms of IQ, they're not as successful because when the going gets tough, they already give up.
That's true.
But one of the things that the heart intelligence has is our capacity to be persistent and to be resilient.
Yes.
So kahit na merong konting setback along the way, hindi tayo nagpapa-intimidate dun sa problem kasi alam natin konting pasensya lang the following day pag naitulog ko to, I'm again willing to try I'm willing to give it another try. And it's so important to carry out big projects.
And Reverend Reg, Tato, let me point this out. That's why the author of the book, Dr. Daniel,
Yes.
on emotional,
IQ.
emotional intelligence.
EQ rather,
Yeah.
emotional intelligence.
He said the practice of Aikido principles
Mm.
is emotional brilliance.
Wow. Why did he say so?
Because in Aikido principles, one is taught to be patient.
Wow.
One is taught to be heart sense. One is taught to blend.
Wow.
One is taught not to break when you fall. In Aikido, there's a principle of giving way.
Mm.
That the head, because it's the head that's always in the way of things.
Yes.
And so when you sidestep, that is a practice. And most teachers that I know, talks about things but do not teach practice.
Yes.
The practice, even in knowing the self, the practice of living purposefully, the practice of being conscious, the practice, it's the practice. And the bottom line of an Aikido practice is emotional intelligence and all this that we talk about, heart sense.
Yes.
Of course, the ideal of Aikido.
Yes.
There are ideals of Aikido.
Actually, Aikido doesn't actually want to hurt the other person. It is more of just going with the flow.
It is just a blending. It's a harmony. It's the art of peace.
Right.
Yes.
But going back, of course, Aikido is not a topic here. It's just that the idea of the heart sense, or whatever we may be professing at some point, it's very important to have a space for practice.
Yes.
Because some children, where they're growing up,
Yes.
have no space to
Yes.
practice tolerance, patience, all of
Yes.
that. And they have no practice to be themselves.
Yes.
Because when they have a bad dream, all their yayas and mothers say, that is just a dream.
Yes.
They experience that every night.
Yes.
They confuse. Their parents are not authorities in psychologists or dreams.
Yes.
And they tell them,
Yes.
that's just a dream. You ignore that dream, that bad dream, but they sleep again and they experience again a bad experience. They get confused about themselves.
Yes. And in fact, I want to share with what Dream Sensei explained earlier. Nung Sunday, I was with family. We were eating in this Japanese restaurant. Tapos, the waiter, he was cooking in front of us. So may fire na would flame up dun sa grill. So my nephew, who's 2 years old, he sees the flame and then he gets scared. And I know
Fire.
because of metaphysics that he was reacting that way because of a past life thing.
Oh.
But syempre, I don't want to scan my nephew in front of my family because one, kailangan ng adult permission for you to do those things.
To say
Because
things.
even in metaphysics, we also have a code of ethics. You're not supposed to just scan people without their permission.
Yep.
But I know that the fact that he was reacting that way, there was some form of past life reason why he had that knee-jerk reaction na ayaw niya makita yung flame. And I know that what Dream Sensei is saying na yung dreams ng mga kids, tapos i-disregard ng adults, it's not actually something that you just bypass because in truth, for them, in their young minds, it has to have, it needs to have some form of processing. Is that what you want to say,
and
Sensei?
it is actually validating your statement earlier, Reverend Reg, that people are stuck with the rational mind.
Yes.
They don't know how big is the unconscious mind as
Yes.
manifested in dreams
Yes.
and other manifestation, let alone talking about past lives.
Yes.
So it's a big issue and it could be scary to know.
Yes.
Some things are dangerous to know for other people. So
Yes.
sometimes we don't want to be also in the position where we are scaring people.
Yes.
So the ethics, as you said,
That's
is
my
important.
forte. I want to scare people. I want to shock people. I enjoy it.
You enjoy it.
Yes.
So, nila.
But could be the past life po.
I mean, because
Yes.
scaring people.
no, because
Joke.
because a lot of times, really, what I really say are new to them.
Yes.
So I have to accept the fact that most of them, or most of the time, I really get to shock them. So I
Yes.
don't care anymore if I shock them or not.
Yes.
But basically, it's not because I would just insist on shocking them, but I would want to share something different or something new.
Well, Tato, I think it's like the reaction of a boy who is
Yeah.
not familiar with what you're saying, being startled with fire.
Yes.
And yet, when you explain things, when Tato explained things, or Reverend Jerry or me, we could say that the fire cooks food, it nurtures us.
Yes.
So,
Definitely. So that's how exactly what happens when people really get to hear something different or something not in accordance to what they believe in.
especially when a lot of people believe in schooling, and you have a book called What You Don't Learn from School.
Yes.
That's why ako, sabi ko, since I know already these things, I don't really try to change their minds, but I still would want to say to them.
Yes.
Because I think most of the time, I am just into planting the seeds rather
Yes.
than converting people.
Yes.
I'd rather plant the seeds now. At least you heard it from me.
Yes.
Because later on, you'll be hearing it again. At least you'll say, oh, nadali ko na kay Tato yan. Oh.
Yes. In fact, I want to share,
Go.
at 3 a.m. this morning,
Wow!
I was looking for something.
Before you continue,
Yes.
continue that, ha?
Okay.
Continue that. Today, this morning, my dream is about 3 big trees beside a house. But continue what you're saying.
Okay, so
Because
at 3 a.m.
we're talking about planting seeds. Anyway.
Okay, at 3 a.m. this morning, I was
And
looking for
3 a.m.
something. And then,
tayo.
yes. And then nakita ko yung certificate ko attending Tato's workshop, yung I Am Kamalayan
May bigay pala ako
workshop.
ng certificate.
So, dun sa binigay ni Tato na workshop, meron siyang kasama, parang yung Myers-Briggs test.
Because when I actually learned about their personality types, all right, I have a book here that has every chapter on this kind of personality that you would actually be, in accordance in terms of who you are.
Yeah.
So, sabi ko, all right, just let me know what you are, what your personality type is. At the end of the seminar, you'll be able to get a free copy of that chapter. That's what I gave you.
Yeah. So it's very interesting kasi nakasulat dun sa binigay ni Tato na information.
Are you a perceptive or a judgmental person?
Ah.
Are you a thinking or a feeling person?
Yes.
INFP siya.
So nakalagay doon na
Receiving.
we're going to have the following probabilities that we can end up teaching, we can end up as ministers, missionaries. And then, exactly what I wrote on Facebook, I'm getting goosebumps. I was looking for something and then I came across my certification on a local consciousness workshop. And my guest tomorrow is the founder of I Am Kamalayan movement. So, ang work options daw is missionaries, priests and ministers, social
Let us give credit
scientists.
to credit is due.
Yes.
What Tato gave you, Myers-Briggs, is a Jungian, Carl Jung test on four
Actually,
types of personalities.
Yes.
Kaya yan. Kaya lang, Myers-Briggs expanded it.
Expanded
Yes.
it.
Kasi from Carl Jung's 8, I think it was only 8.
But basically, the personality types are the introversion and the extroversion,
Yes.
the thinking and the
yun ang
feeling,
eight na yun.
and the intuition and the sensei.
Yes.
Plus also, you we have the mixture of that, of being perceptive and judgmental.
So,
Yes.
combine nila. So, they came up with the 16 types.
And then you will be able to guide a person in terms of what suitable career they may want to go
Yes.
to. And that was what you're sharing now.
Yes.
Because I got a book. It's called The Millionaire Code. I forgot the author. And then the Millionaire Code actually would try to be able to define the kinds of jobs or the kind of direction each personality type would actually be
Suitable too, no?
Yes.
suitable for. So, ang ganda kasi ang haba ng mga chapters, extensive yung explanation. Unlike if you go to a Myers-Briggs, personality, they'll give you only the general outlook of who you are or what you are.
Yes.
Ito, define it talaga. Anong ang mga particular kinds of jobs suited for that kind of thinking or personality. So, ang ganda. And 16 yun. So,
Yes.
basically, ang dami ng types na yun.
So,
Ikaw, ano ka ba?
Tao. Human tao.
Yes.
At my point right now,
Extrovert ka ba?
at my point right now, I have already tried to defy the definitions of the archetypes.
Yes.
Whether it's, but of course, I tend to be towards what the measures are, Myers-Briggs or astrology,
Yes.
or whatever. I really study myself in the point that I'm always In progress.
Exactly, okay.
Parang extroverted, but actually, Tato, to answer you, para ako extroverted, pero a lot of me is introverted.
A lot of you.
Yeah.
Alright, ito yun eh. This is what I actually have really concluded in terms of all these things. Exactly what you're saying. You have gone beyond already. We have to go beyond all these things. We have to be all in terms of being an extrovert, introvert,
Yes.
sensing, feeling.
Yes.
You have to experience all of them.
Yes.
Yes.
Kasi hindi pwedeng ikaw, in one particular lifetime, eto lang yung binuhay mo rito, I am an INFP, ganyan. And then you led your life throughout na ganun ka. Actually, alright, maybe to our advantage, yes, we can actually use it to our advantage, no? Kasi knowing the type and then the kind of job that you can get into.
Yes, yes.
Maganda ano yan. But then again, we are not supposed to limit ourselves with that because we have to be able to experience a lot of things. Alright, maybe from being one type now, we can go to the next type. You know, let's put it this way. Ako kasi, the way I look at Jesus, for example, I think he is all personality types.
In the Enneagram, if you're
Also,
familiar with Enneagram,
Enneagram na also.
Enneagram is all the numbers.
Or all the numbers. Exactly, ganun din ito. We have to experience, kaya, kung kumbaga parang,
Individuated person.
oh, you have practically
Fullness.
experienced everything.
Kaya holistic tong Tuesday natin.
kumbaga,
Yes.
holistic.
Actually, I also want to add to what Tato was saying na, yeah, syempre you have to develop as much of yourself with the resources that you have. But now, I also want to delve into the idea na, yun eh, lalabas talaga yung purpose doon. There's a divine direction, there's a divine plan for us.
Yeah.
Because, like what Tato wrote there, we have to be
Mas kumisado mo yata ang libro ko kaysa.
we have to be more trusting than fearful. Because actually, nung Saturday, I
Ito
also...
yan. We have to be more. Another reason why we are unhappy is we would rather be fearful than trusting.
Yes. And I want to share an insight. Saturday, I posted on Facebook na if you can't trust God's presence in your future, don't bother studying metaphysics because it's not for the faint-hearted, which is true.
Okay.
And I want to expound on that because when you
Tama na
really
yun,
decide
something like that as well.
when you really decide to live your life from the unknown level. Kasi when you say you're going to live your life dahil nag-create ka ng kamalayan mo, or ako I decided na, you know what, I'm going to leave the house and then I'm going to take it from there whatever happens. And we know that in the Philippines, it's not really a culture na people move out of the family home ng ganun-ganun lang. And I wasn't sure na, okay, ano yung mga opportunities na dadating. I don't really like an 8 to 5 type of job. But then, because I know that if you trust the universe in some way, it will always provide for you. So far, that's what's happening. Doors are opening up. And because I know that my life experience comes from what he's teaching na, paano mo ba create yung kamalayan mo? Kasi yung kamalayan mo, yun yung magpo-produce ng experiences mo. And ako, isa dun sa mga pinakamabigat na pinaniniwalaan ko, when a person is purposeful, when they really want to be masterful at their divine purpose in this lifetime, the universe will find a way, one way or another, to support you. Pero you have to be receptive. You have to be receptive. And education, not a formal school, because reading a book is a form of education. And if you're just willing to educate yourself, the better you are at devoting yourself to self-improvement and growth and expansion, the universe will also give you a corresponding attraction according to your growth and expansion. Kasi dun sa isa dun sa na-discover ko dun sa binigay ni Tato 4 years ago. 4 years ago, he gave me the INFP. And then, last year, natapos ko yung ordination to become a metaphysician or an ordained minister. Pero nung binigay ni Tato yon, sabi ko sa kanya, you know, Tato, I didn't plan on being in the limelight. All I wanted to do was to support you and to support another teacher. Sabi ko, bahala na andun ako sa background, basta kayong dalawa andun.
She was very, very supportive. She was even the one who gave me the break to speak, to give lectures in Third Eye.
Ayun.
Yeah.
So, in fact, ang nakakatuwa dun sa binigay sa akin ni Tato, it really helped me know myself better because also in that information that he gave me, sabi dun, even if you don't want to be in the limelight because of your vision, sooner or later, malalagay at malalagay ka dun sa posisyon na yun. Kaya ang sarap nung inaaral natin because mas nakikita mo na, uy, totoo yung merong alignment, totoo na merong purpose yung mga nangyayari sa atin. Yung mga tao na hindi nakasama dun sa purpose na yun, hindi na sila mag-co-create with you. So, mawawala na sila dun sa frequency mo or dun sa vortex mo.
Actually, that's exactly what I wrote in my Facebook post earlier. Sabi ko nga to those who attend my Kamalayan seminars, and after 10 years, we try to assess or try to find out exactly what happened to them.
Yes.
And one of them, exactly what
Yes.
Reverend Reg had experienced, no? Or she became now a minister,
Yeah.
a metaphysical minister. But ito nga yung sinabi ko, it's a warning actually, because as what Reverend Reg mentioned kanina, metaphysics is that for the faint-hearted.
Yes.
And Kamalayan is that for the faint-hearted. It's kind of
Yes.
metaphysical in a way
Yes.
also. Ito nga warning ko. Kamalayan seminars may be hazardous to your mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual health. After listening to Kamalayan lecture or seminar, employees would want to resign from their jobs. Students want to quit school. Lovers and married couples separate. Religious devotees become or switch to spirituality. Why? Because they discover the secret about who they are, why they are here in this world, and what they should do with their lives. So these are the few observations I had seen during the last 10 years in tracking down past, kasi talagang nakaka-shock eh. People really resign from their jobs. Companies get me to do Kamalayan seminars in their companies. Later on, they discover, bakit ang dami nag-resign sa company namin, imbis na to become, better employees.
Yes.
Yun naman, doon ko na-realize, it's kind of unfair to the management, to the top management. But basically, because what happened to the employees, because they were the ones who took the seminar, they became empowered.
Yes.
And so they felt, why am I suffering in this kind of a job that I actually don't like?
Yeah.
And in fact, I can do something as well according to what I want.
Yes.
So they get empowered, and so they resign. So
Yeah.
which is actually good for them. Actually, what I have to now see to it in the next, as a matter of fact, a former student of mine asked me if I could do a Kamalayan talk in the company. I said, you might consider somebody else because your employees might resign.
Ako naman, I want to add to what Tato said because I picked this up from one of the most amazing teachers I've met. And he was saying na if you just do things step by step in your life, maybe now you're employed or self-employed, and it might be a very small income at the moment. But every time you're doing your best at any playing field, whatever industry, parating may good karma yun. So even if you resign from work, dahil iniwan mo ng maganda yung employment, or you picked another thing, if you made sure that you did well in that particular area, pagka-move on mo naman dun sa next opportunity, mababless ka dun for very sure because it's a universal principle din.
And it's always, in accordance to your own happiness.
Yes.
But let me add this. Sometimes the word happiness is a two-edged sword.
Yeah.
Let me share experience. When you say, going into this is something like, there's a term that you used a while ago, but let me share the example. I have friends who are guidance counselors.
Yes.
And so part of the work of a guidance counselor is to really listen to people.
Yes.
And so one of the guidance counselor, have prayed. Part of the prayer is, be careful what you pray. It may be given to you. So she prayed to be patient. And there's lots of clients that come to her that are very difficult. So what's this?
Yes, and I think that's very good what Sensei mentioned, because the law of attraction actually and consciousness has become so pop culture, and people don't realize that when you use the law of attraction or consciousness, it really comes from a spiritual premise. Because Charles Fillmore was saying, we have 12 mind powers, and that 12 mind powers is part of your spiritual powers.
Yeah.
So, totoo yun. It seems funny that you're gonna hear it that way, na you get tested kasi you asked for patience.
But it's not really a test.
Yes.
It is really a stepping stone to be patient.
Yes.
So it's the mindset of the person who has not really opened their minds to what you really want.
Yes.
You said you want patience.
Yes.
So there's a lot of practice that I give you.
Yes.
Without the practice, you will not be patient. It does not come in a bubble to be patient. You got to have experience.
Yes.
As in martial arts and mixed martial, you get to be in the mat.
Yes, and I like what you mentioned earlier, kasi happiness daw is a two-edged sword. But you see, the happiness, that feeling of fulfillment as well, from asking to be patient and then going through that, comes from experiencing it and being able to practice the patience in the situation.
Well, and there is a validation that I put myself here.
Yes.
So I feel validated.
I'll just give a situation here. Which one is better? Being happy in a job that is low paying, or being miserable in a job that is high paying?
But Tato, that is an either-or question. That's a rational mind question. It is like asking a question of, who do you want to marry? A man who has been one-woman man, or a man who is really a playboy? Because when you marry this man, maybe this one-woman man, that's a boyfriend, pag nag-asawa ka na, maging palikero na yan. Pero yung sawa na sa babae, pag nag-asawa ka, hindi na dahil sawa na. Your question is something like that. It's a rational.
Yes. But actually ako personally, it's a question ni Tato. Sorry. Nung hindi ko pa alam yung consciousness and how I can draw the things to myself, I would pick the sizable pay. And even if it wasn't a job that was emotionally satisfying.
Because it's but it is because the kamalayan of the bigger pay.
Yes,
but there is
now,
another kamalayan.
But now that I know that I can do what I love to do and get paid handsomely as well, syempre I'm gonna choose na the second option.
Actually, the best question there is, what would you do even if you don't get paid but you'll be happy?
Yes. Yes.
Diba? What is it? Exactly, if you can answer that question, what will you do even if you don't get paid, but as long as you'll be happy? That actually answers the question already that you've been wanting to ask. Do it. Kung ano man yung job na yun ang gawin mo.
Yes.
In a Steven Spielberg movie, TV series before, there's this old man who makes dolls. He keeps making dolls because he's happy doing making dolls. And then this man comes in and say, "Sir, I'm now coming as a customer. Before I come into your office, we just watch the dolls because it's so beautiful. Your craftsmanship is so beautiful. But right now, I will pay. You know, sir, you're a very soft seller. You don't hard sell your stuff. How do you earn money? And the man said, you know, there are many forms of remuneration."
Exactly. Like,
Yes.
ito, ginagawa natin dito.
Yes.
May bayad mo tayo dito. Basically, we actually don't earn from this, but we like it, we love it, we enjoy it. And again, as you said, there are several forms of remunerations in terms of what we get back by doing this, the thing that we love. So, you know, one. Yun ang two-edged.
But you see, I was telling Tato earlier na For example, now, I'm learning a lot from Tato and Sensei.
Mahaba pa.
And in fact, one of the pace that I get here is to grow my wisdom by learning from people who are experienced and
Do you mean old? Joke, of course.
because of course
Older.
even people younger than me, I learn from them. So in fact, my younger brother is more successful in the financial area of his life. And to think he's 2 years younger than me, he just celebrated his birthday, he lent me his coat, and his coat is very prosperous. And Tato was discussing earlier na, you know, when you go to a store, wag mong titingnan yung presyo, that would be my brother. Sabi, and then there's another type of shopper who goes to the store and checks the price, that would be me. Buti na lang, I have a well-off brother.
Alright, so, anything you would like to add before we go to the next reason why we are unhappy? No more?
Kanina I was trying to recall a dream in relation to what we're discussing. Pero,
Yeah, yung dream mo, sige.
Pero I think because of age, nakalimutan ko.
I think another reason bakit people are unhappy is because they don't know that God is within.
Yeah.
That's really a big source of unhappiness. Because
Exactly, that is the next thing that I'm going to write here.
Now I remember the dream.
Okay, sige.
So there is this
Before you
dream
forget again.
yeah, thank you, Tato. Thank you, Reverend Rich. That circulates among the pious ones and religious. And it is also, I think, but this is an actual dream, no,
Yes.
of a person. He dreamt that God was calling him, and so yung house niya 2-story. So when God calls him, sabi niya, "Come down, I'm at the door."
Okay.
So he goes down and opens the door. But when he opens the door, what he finds is a big stone blocking his way. So he will push it, and then he wakes up. The following nights and several other nights, it's always like that. He heeds the call of God, saying, "I'm in the door, open the door," and he will say, "Stone," and he will have to push the stone away from the door. So one of these dreams, when we could have lucid dreamings, like the film, I forgot the film name, but anyway, I will discuss it.
Robert,
DiCaprio.
DiCaprio, So when you actually would just imagine how it's there.
Acting on the dream. So in one of those moments, he said, "God, here is it again. You call me down. I wake up from the second upper part and open the door, and I will see a stone again. I will push it. God, what is it really? Wala namang nangyayari eh." And God answered, "Look at your muscle." Sometimes there are things that happens, and the mind who is limited, the rational mind who's limited in its perception, would complain, and maybe even blame, God. But in order really to get to that happiness, siguro the openness of mind and the rigidity of mind need to be unleashed.
Actually, that's the rationale behind suffering.
So the idea, but
That's
even,
what they use.
but the idea sometimes is because there is some meaningful sufferings that they say. That's why this is the idea of, hey, the rational mind say, "You're making me suffer, God. I just push and I judge this experience as lang nangyayari." That's the idea of the mind.
Yes.
But when God speaks, or I call it when one do a dream work, like the film is Steven Spielberg's work, so commercially labeled. The idea is, hey, you open your mind, say, oo nga, become observant, oo nga, malaki na eh.
Yes.
Naging mindful.
Yes.
Kasi po ng what you call now mindfulness or kamalayan, higher kamalayan.
What is Kamalayan? Basically, we actually look at it in a different angle. I don't know if you've watched the movie Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Diba? Every time, what's his
Paulit-ulit yung day na yun.
Yung paulit-ulit, pag gising niya,
Until-
sabi the same thing. Nothing happens again, it's the same thing. So there's no, I would say, change.
Yes.
He gets frustrated.
There's no
The
change in
actor
what's
gets
happened.
frustrated.
In what happens, no? So si, ano ba parang?
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray.
Bill Murray would just sleep again, wake up, the same thing again that happens, the same, over and over. So, in Kamalayan, that's what happens. We expect things to be different, when in fact, we did not change our consciousness. So
Yes.
basically, we create the same thing again and again.
Yes.
Unless we create something new in our consciousness, that's the only time we can create something different.
But and Tato, to add, no, not just the consciousness that is changed, the practice and the action.
The practice
Yes.
and the action, but it all starts inside.
Yes, and I want
But
to
some
share.
people got stuck in the mind.
Oo nga, yun na nga.
That's why there's what we call, what's the term? Analysis paralysis.
Analysis paralysis. But again, in Kamalayan kasi, we always emphasize the fact that it is not actually, well, of course action is there, but it's more on the beingness. Because
Yes.
everything would result from the beingness first.
Yes.
And all the actions would actually be able to transpire after, following that you have evolved into this other concept already of a new being.
Yes.
Or beingness mo. So what is it that you are now being in terms of who you are? Are you a new human being or the same human being?
It's the same, in the Groundhog Day, it's the same human being that in a sense transformed.
Transform. But basically, you have transformed your mind.
Yes, and transforming your mind, it really helps that you meditate and you make affirmations, or in that case, the Aikido thing. I really recommend those things because some teachers, they now say that the whole body is the unconscious mind. So if you want a new way of being, you have to train the body a new way to be, a new way to vibrate. That's why I was telling my clients before who want to lose weight, the best thing to do that is to start from the root cause of the weight gain. Yung unnecessary, meron namang weight gain na tama lang para dun sa balance nung body na yun. Pero meron talagang weight gain na sobrang wala na sa hustisya.
O parang nawala sa walang consciousness.
Yes.
Sige.
I wanted to share that because you always have to start from the root cause of the situation. And if you understand that the unnecessary weight that you have comes from unhealthy mental and emotional patterns that you keep vibrating, if you lose that, then you will be able to easily and effortlessly keep off the weight. And then maintain a healthier body weight. And if you maintain a healthier body weight, and following the principle that the whole body is the unconscious mind, then if you are in your healthy body weight, then you have a healthy thinking and feeling vehicle now, which is your body.
Exactly. All right. So, okay. I think for our last reason why we are unhappy, we'd rather discuss this. We would rather worry than pray.
Yes.
A lot of times we get worried.
Yes.
We worry instead of first praying.
Yes.
So, what happens when we worry? Nothing, except we feel bad.
Yes.
But, we should pray. All right. Anyway, so how do you go about expounding on this?
There's a saying that says, worry does not add anything into our life.
And it's always in the future. I mean, worry is something that you get to look into, which is in the future.
Yes.
And then, what is the past? Regret.
Guilt.
Disappointment.
Guilt.
Or
And regret.
In the past.
That's why in cognitive therapy, when people have a lot of worry, we try to identify what we call cognitive distortions.
Yes.
And the cognitive distortions of people who worry a lot and have anxieties, who have panic attacks and all those stuff, is called or labeled negative fortune telling error. When when we think of a future that is negative. So,
Yes. And I like what we're talking about here because praying, whether through verbalizing it or doing it on paper, writing down what you want to demonstrate, or praying in terms of meditation in union with God, it's really very powerful to neutralize the things that you don't want to expand. Kasi, just to share with everyone, there are 3 basic things that metaphysics wants to help every individual accomplish. Ano yung 3 basic, excuse me, 3 basic things. The first one is for you to cancel existing negativities. Yung current challenges mo, ma-dissolve mo. Siyempre, with divine understanding, hindi pwede na sinolve mo lang tapos walang spiritual growth na nangyari. Next is, yung mangyayari pa lang. Kunyari, may magsasabi, mag-earthquake mamaya, or magkakaroon ng grabing typhoon later. If collectively, everybody prayed and meditated, pwedeng ma-offset yun
Yeah.
or ma-transfer yung typhoon to the ocean. That's really possible. The third one is to create from scratch a reality that you really want to experience. And that's what Tato is teaching in his book.
Mas kabisado na yan.
So, the reason why I'm sharing that with you, because, it doesn't really take a very expensive education for you to recreate your life. If you don't want it now, there are many inexpensive ways for you to make it happen. In fact, in prayer, my favorite would be Dr. Ponder, who keeps saying, if you learn one affirmation for just 5 minutes every day, sabi niya, a person who knows how to affirm every day for just 5 minutes, matatalo pa niya yung tao na well-read. Bakit? Kasi, if you don't put into practice, like what Sensei was saying, yung learning mo, wala.
That's true.
So, kahit daw na isang mantra lang yung natutunan mo for the whole year, for 5 minutes, yun lang yung ginagawa mo araw-araw. It's even better than someone na ang dami-dami ng natutunan, pero hindi naman kaya i-execute yung mga natutunan niya.
Reverend Reg, sabi nga ni
Yeah.
Bruce Lee, mas matatakot siya sa isang taong nagpa-practice ng high kick
Yes.
na pinractice niya na 6 million times kaysa sa dun sa isang ang dami-daming pinractice pero kalat-kalat.
Yes. Yes.
Basically, okay, yun ang isang na natin, nakikita in terms of how we look at life. And most of the time, we worry first. Initial reaction yan, worry. And somehow parang we forget everything else anymore.
Yes.
Wala na tayong iniisip, kundi, wow, paano na ito? Ano na mangyayari dito? And in fact, dapat first natin ginagawa is to pray.
Yes.
When you pray, believe that there is no problem, and or kung nandiyan yung problem, ask for the answers, and
Yes.
it will come. So, ito yung we actually forget that prayer is the most powerful thing that we can actually do in this world. Now, if you don't want to use the word pray, I don't actually pray anymore. I affirm. I do
Yes.
affirmations.
Yes.
In the morning, complete 2 hours yan, affirmation siya. Whether guided meditation yan, affirmations, or written, or what. Basta, nobody gets to disturb me early in the morning. I mean, I do my affirmations. Talagang, kumbaga, napo-project ko na for the whole day,
Yes.
lahat ng mangyayari sa buhay ko. Walang mangyayari hindi maganda, except yung kanina lang talaga, napalpak talaga na nagpunta ako ng SM, manunod sana ako ng movie kanina.
Tuesday ka?
Tuesday. Sabi ko, perfect. May oras pa ako, 5 o'clock pa naman yung show ni Reg.
Tuesday.
So, punta ako dyan, sakay ako ng van kasi ayoko talaga ng kotse. So, sakay ako ng bus para wala akong problema sa parking, ganyan. So, bigat ng bag na dala-dala ko kasi nandiyan lahat ng mo. Anyway, so ito na, nakapunta na ako, nakapila na ako. So, I had an affirmation of talagang perfect, pero I forgot to do one thing. Nakalimutan ko pala yung booklet card. Kaya na nasa akin yung ID, hindi pwedeng libre yan. Wala yung booklet mo eh.
Yes.
So sabi ko, there must be something
Yes. Yes.
I am not, there are no accidents in this particular situation. Sabi ko, there must be something here in SM that I can do that actually I am supposed to be doing instead of watching a movie. Why am I here? And so, true enough, I went around, ito na yan. Sabi ko, teka muna, namimiss ko na ito National Bookstore. Punta ako ng National Bookstore. They said, tingin-tingin, and gano'n. Until, yun na nga, ito yung pang ko. This is what I wanted to talk kanina about sa program ni Reverend Reg. Kaya lang, hindi natin na ilabas. Pero ngayon mukhang malalabas na. Dahil, kumbaga, sabi ko, there are no accidents. And there was this book about ghosting. August ngayon, di ba? Ghosting. Kasi si Reverend Reg, she actually wrote in her post about me, about the program, about the interview, that I had more than 60 girlfriends.
Yes.
And so sabi ko, teka muna, she writes about that. I have to explain why that many.
Yes.
Do you feel defensive?
No. I think this is the reason why napunta ako dun sa ano na yun, to be able to discuss that. Kasi basically, alright, I'm not being defensive. As a matter of fact, I'm actually more proud of it, rather. But again, sabi ko nga the reason, bakit gano'n karami? And this is the only time, it was only last year, that I came across that word, ghosting.
Kala ko making a list.
Ghosting. Kasi, before, wala yan eh. Ngayon na nauso yung word na ghosting eh. Yung nawawala ka sa isang relationship. And, doon ko na-realize.
Talaga? Ngayon ka lang natutunan yun?
Oo. Uso ngayon yan. Kaya, it's being discussed na sa mga television programs and ghosting na yan. And it was only recently lang na I learned also about it, no? And so sabi ko, oh my God, that explains why I had many. I disappeared kasi basically in most of my relationships. Kumbaga ghost. Parang nag-ghosting nga talaga ako. And yun na sinabi ng isang girl na I was actually talking to last year, no? During that time I had cruises with Tato. Sabi, sir, ghosting ang tawag. Anong ghosting? Yun na meron para such a word now that is called ghosting. And it's an in thing now with the millennials, or not only with the millennials, but the Gen Z now, the word ghosting. So basically, when a person disappears from a person's in a relationship, that's what they call it.
Okay. Let me add this idea. I was talking to a very good friend, priest, no? Actually ang taas na nung rango niya, and he was telling me this new idea about body talk. So, and the person that he consulted, para po Penelope yung first name niya, and she was able to diagnose him na ang idea is, ang term is ghosting, and you're saying, ang tawag naman sa kanya, you don't complete the digestion of your food. Minsan kinakain mo, pero hindi mo pang inunguya mabuti, na nilulunon mo na.
Wow.
At ang manifestation sa body, kasi body talk, yung kidney tsaka liver. Kaya minsan, yung sabi, the body is the consciousness or the unconscious. If one has an ailing part of the body, it may be telling about the person. In this case, hindi ghosting yung pero sabi niya, hindi masticated well, hindi mo kinukomplete yung iyong engagements. Kasi,
merong
completion.
Term, no? Anyway, ito, new word for us, ghosting. So it's an in thing now. And sabi ko, I wanted to find out, why did I do it? What was the reason why I would do that? Why would I would do such a thing? I would be nice naman to the girl because basically we fell in love, we became one.
60.
Oh, part 2 yung goals with Reverend Reg para dun sa 60 girls.
Another term yata ngayon, Reverend Reg tsaka Tato, meron silang term ngayon yung paasa.
Paasa. Paasa. But again, ito nga, this is what I got naman from my Enneagram test.
1.
Anong number ang Enneagram?
7 ako. Cannot commit to a one-on-one relationship.
Happiness lang.
Ayun, di ba? Adventurous, happiness. Basically, happiness.
And yet, that is Enneagram.
Yes.
But if you look into the life purpose number of a particular other author, life purpose number of 7 is the challenge of trust and betrayal. And so it's a resolving the issues of, do I trust myself? Do I have been betrayed? Do I betray myself? And so even a relationship with God would be a trust and betrayal issue until one is fully trusting of oneself, God, and other people.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Ang galing naman. See, even I myself, I'm learning. So, thank
Yeah,
you
we're
for that.
all learning. That's why sabi ko, I wanted all of you to be here. Kanina sabi ko kasi I want to learn from myself. I've learned already what I know. So, basically, I want to learn from other people. So,
Yes.
having a discussion like this on additional learning.
Yes.
That's what you get. Kasi ang yabang ng iba na, wala akong matututunan dyan, walang alam yan.
Yes.
Pero actually, every person is a teacher.
Yes.
Ang hirap nga nung may concept ako na, o ibang tao na, perfect na ako.
Yeah.
In my field, we call it cognitive distortion or perfectionism. If we say, kanina ina-acknowledge ni Tato na si Jesus Christ si God yung perfect. Yung ating situation sa buhay at ibang bagay, pag gusto nating maging perfect, the universe and God gives an example. Nalimutan ko yung ano ko. so, it's a humbling experience. It's a human experience.
But you see, that's also how the prayer worked. Because Tato was saying he doesn't leave the house without praying for 2 hours na he doesn't get disturbed. And then, imagine na, despite your preparation in the morning, something like that happens. That's part of the answered prayer. The universe was also leading him to what was in alignment with the vibration he sent out in the morning.
Because he needs to resolve the issues of 60 relationships.
Actually,
Yes.
actually, I already know how to resolve it because I went to a guidance counselor regarding that. So now that I know that I am a 7 and I can commit to a one-on-one relationship, or what can I do now? So now that you know, that is the time you can really now commit. But it's too late.
Parang nabudinigay ka na.
Parang si Richard tuwang-tuwa siya dito, sabi niya.
It's too late, si Carol.
Hindi, nakakailan na ba ako sa 16 ni Tato? Hi Richard, please say hi to our audience.
Hi.
Pero Richard, sumama siya. Pakita ka rito.
Pakita ka.
No, okay.
Nandiyan ka na Kulang na lang iurong mo rito yan. Kasali ka na rito
Oo, kasi si Lance last week,
May time pa ba
in the
tayo,
middle
Richard?
of in the middle of his show, bigla
5
niya akong
minutes?
hinatak dun sa show niya. Hello, Lance.
Lance Edward. Yeah, of course, si Lance. Dapat sali ka rin dito.
Lance,
Yes.
congratulations sa Baguio.
Oo nga. Pati si Avon, I think, and the rest of the group.
Hindi ko sinama.
Ayun. Wala na ako sa Baguio eh. The Bautista family. They own University of Baguio. Mga okay yan.
Congratulations
Close
to
to
University of
Des
Baguio.
Bautista.
My closest to University of Baguio is nagkaroon akong girlfriend na guidance counselor.
Kaya pala guidance counselor minimension ng Sensei.
Yun ang
Yun
closest.
pala yung guidance counselor na nire-refer niya kanina.
And one of my BFF, ano maybe best friends
Best friends forever.
Na naging guest ko na sa ating program dito, si Chris Padilla-Sendin, was a graduate of psychology course in University St. Louis.
BFF after a relationship?
No. Para siyang sa St. Louis yata siya, and kasama ko siyang guidance counselor or building the guidance office of Central Colleges of the Philippines.
Awesome.
Mga-
Galing, ha?
Mga connect sa
Oo,
life.
ang gaganda ng mga nakikita kong paborito.
Nagtampo pa.
Kaya pala hindi pa tayo ginagest ni Sir. Kasi may requirement na guidance counselor at maganda.
Hindi ba? Nagkakataon lang yung commitments.
Wala by the way, sabi ko sa kanina in your program, yung when I learned about consciousness through a fortune teller,
Yeah.
yung taro dito,
Si Filipino astrologer natin.
hindi. I mean, yung pinuntahan ko noon, sabi mo, nag-move.
Si Alex Angeles. God rest his soul. Si Alex Angeles.
Siya yung nag-open. Kasi sabi niya, ang galing niya.
Oo,
Because he talked
napaka-enlightened
about
naman nung
consciousness.
niya.
Kasi sabi ko nga what can I do? Ayoko yung natitinig ko. Kasi ano magagawa mo? Yung consciousness mo. Doon ko na-realize
Napaka-enlightened actually nung card reader niya to explain the tarot cards in that kind of yes.
Merong kaming mga readers na araw doon sa 6th floor of the Shangri-La. 6th floor. Kami mga si August, si Alex Angeles, yung brother ni Alex na tapos si Shainet, ako, Mariah Chibat, may angel reading, may card reading, blah blah blah. Resty, Santiago sa astrology. So, minsan nag-workshop kami. Tsaka yung artista na si Carla Pambid. We were reading and we are doing workshops together. And what is interesting, ang dami naming reader doon, pero pag nireview namin yung particular month or week nang nagko-consult, pare-pareho ang issue.
Grabe. It's really amazing kasi sa University of Metaphysics, syempre in-update nila kami nung mga planetary cycles. So, it's true that when they do a collective workshop, for example, you address the issues and then when you talk amongst yourselves, marirealize mo merong theme. So, ang galing. Kasi actually, kung collectively din, nasa-synchronize natin yung energy natin. Parang ngayon yung ghost month. Si Lance asked me, kasi na-mention nyo nga daw yung ghost month. Pero, in our practice, we can go above and beyond the ghost month if we're going to do certain practices. Meron pa rin ways na hindi ka maapektuhan.
Ako, hindi ako naapektuhan Kasi first cycle ko
Yeah.
I'm very active before in the Edgar Casey study group. I'm, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, according to Edgar Casey, who's really proficient in dreams and all of those stuff, sinasabi lang naman niya there are many influences.
Yes.
But one need to establish a good will. We have a free will, but if the will is strong, even other influences will not be able to influence the person.
Yes.
Okay yung will mo.
Yes.
So that involves knowing yourself,
yes.
Being healthy.
Exactly, that's what God
Kamalayan, and those
free will.
Yes.
So, with that, naku, dami nating gusto pang pag-usapan, kaya lang wala na tayong oras at mapupuyat na dito si Sensei dahil sa kasunod na programa siya dito ngayon at kung hindi ko matatapusin ito, hindi pa siya makakapag-umpisa sa programa. At hindi makaka-uwi si Rachel ng maaga at naharap na siya ng kanyang misis. So, with that, I'd like to say thank you very much for really giving me the pleasure in having your company, your presence here in my program, Feel Good with Tato. Thank you, Reverend Reg, and Dream Sensei, Sito.
Pleasure is ours.
So, you have to, maybe you would want to invite them to your program, what would they listen to or what would they expect in your program later?
Well, they could expect to hear about the 13 as a number, which is today is at August 13, August month. And I will talk about the 13, which I mentioned kanina Reverend Reg, yung significance ng 13. And also, I'd like to also share about what is really Dream Sensei. Because if it would be a starting program, I would really explain how come it's a Dream Sensei? Because it's a term that may be new to others.
Yes.
And what kind and how deep or whatever.
Kasi Sensei is master. And Aikido master.
Kaya, first time ko sinuot ito.
Natanga ako, sabi ko,
ang galing niya I think you should keep that.
Thank you.
Thank
you for the validation para identity.
Identity. Gawa ka na lang ng ibang color siguro. Pero ganyan ang concept nila.
Yes.
Something like this.
Para, ibang kulay.
Ang katotohanan yan wala pa akong pang tubos pa sa laundry ko. Available.
Okay. So with that, maraming salamat at maraming salamat Richard Sangüesa for your technical assistance here at ang ganda ng aming ilaw dito ngayon. Pogi lahat kami at maganda. So, thank you and with that, I'd like to invite everyone next week again for Feel Good with Tato. Always remember to feel good at magandang kamalayan sa inyong lahat.
Thank you po. Thank you, Tato.